Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome back to Miss French.
Thank you.
Nice to have you back.
Good to see you.
Good to be back with my family,
that's
my
right.
TV family.
That's right. Everybody have a good weekend?
Yeah. Except for Sunday when it was all like rainy in the morning.
I know.
Sometimes I love rainy days, though.
I know, I did, and I sat around and did nothing, but it cleared up.
Sunday, let me tell you, Sunday was because Friday and Saturday, the forecast, all the information we had was Sunday was going to be okay. Weather has always been an inexact science. Sunday showed that.
Oh, yeah.
It would sneak up showers.
Yeah, and
you were working Sunday, and I was.
Yeah, I was working Sunday, and even through the morning it kept on changing. That none of the models were picking up on the rain. It just kept on growing and growing and growing. And but hey, it's one of those things. Like you're lazy in the morning, all of a sudden it got super nice. It's like, oh, looks like I have to do something.
Right? Right. So true.
Hey, listen, this morning we're talking about when is the right time for parents for you to cut off your adult kids as far as helping them out financially.
I mean, I even know adult kids that move back in with their parents.
Of course, no, and I think that's more common now. So let us know what is the right time. Chime in. We'll talk about it. You've got the whole story behind it.
Yeah, so I mean, it's this new study that came out, basically breaking down some of the numbers about who is paying the bills. The study came from Chartway Credit Union, surveying thousands of Americans, found a fourth of the millennials say that their parents are paying their rent, which I am still like struggling to believe this, guys. Nearly half of parents with adult kids are helping them pay some kind of bill. And the respondents, at least 40% of them, say that they're struggling to pay bills on time. And then most of the surveys, they still say they're financially responsible, but that's even though half of them struggle with unnecessary spending. I'm probably in that half, to be honest. So we were asking all morning, how old is too old to stop paying your kids' bills? So we had some people chiming in, and this was all over the place. I mean, some were like, 18, cut them off, it's done. And then others were like, hey, if you're still in school, which was the rule in my parents' house, that they'll help out. I had to move back in with my parents for the first time last year, end of last year, which, like, I'm not going to lie, that was a little rough. I would have rather they just offered to pay my rent, like some of the surveyors. So, but yes, another person saying that kids aren't leaving as early as they used to.
No, the game's changed.
The game has really changed.
Yeah, and think about just how much it costs for groceries nowadays.
Oh my God.
So even if you have a decent job, everything is so much more expensive and things like that. So yeah, I think a lot of people are living at home longer. And also there was a time that they weren't able to get the job that they could. Now it's all over the place right now.
Right. And with I think we always do these stories on inflation and unemployment. And unemployment is low, but we still have to have a conversation about what folks are getting paid. That's the big thing, and that's why it's struggling to keep up.
I think there's a real tendency to be like, well, back in my day, I was supposed to do that, and there's some truth to that. But I also think that to Chris's point, the dynamic has changed. And back in the day, a lot of people turned 21, graduated, got married, and moved in together. And that's not really the paradigm shift. It has been substantial in the last few years. So I do feel like we've sort of elongated youth a little bit for a variety of reasons. And that's also why I think it's 25 when you're cut off from your parents' insurance now. Because there is that sort of transition time that isn't so black and white as it once was.
I think it really just depends on the person, too. Like, my grandmother came from, nothing and was a single parent. And so even when I feel like even with my mom being married with kids, she was always trying to let me help, let me pay for this, let me do this. And then I know other people too whose parents are very well off, but they're like, no, we want you to learn how to. So I think it really just depends on the person and where they come from and their background on their parenting style and what they do, right?
Yeah, and it depends on the jobs. I mean, in news, it's like a giving. Your first job, you are making no money, you know? And so a lot of my friends that, got their first TV job in these tiny little markets, Wausau's and whatnot, their parents are paying for a huge portion of their rent, if not paying for the whole thing, because how else would you save? How else would you live, honestly?
I'm not even going to comment on it. If you only knew, I'm not going to say anything about it. I started with nothing. No parents over me. I said to them, I'm going to do it by myself. It was not easy. I was making zero money working in Cherryville, North Carolina radio.
Oh my goodness!
And it was not, to each his own. But I had to fight for it. And some people want to fight, some people don't. Whatever you can do. But it's life is a challenge. The way I look at it is, Whatever makes you happy.
Exactly.
Whatever makes you happy. If your parents are happy providing for you, that's great. They got the money. If not, sometimes it's better to get out there and find out how life really is.
Yeah,
exactly.
There's not always going to be somebody handing to you. So
I lived with 4 roommates. My first TV job.
Oh my goodness.
And rent was like $350 just because that many people split it. And I remember I'd always get turkey pastrami from the grocery store because it was like $2 a pound.
Yeah.
I don't know what turkey pastrami is to this day. I don't think I've ever seen it. It was
You
just
don't
in
eat
Sioux
it
City,
anymore,
Iowa.
right?
No, not anymore. No, I moved on to turkey and ham. You know, big boy.
Moved on to turkey and ham.
Yeah, my brother, even through like medical school, always had roommates, lived with like 6 guys, everything, because everything's so expensive and it's hard to pay those bills.
See, that's my little brother soon. He's in his freshman year of undergrad, trying to go to med school to be a pediatrician.
Good for
Either
him.
a pediatrician or pediatric surgeon, something very aggressive.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I'm like, you know what, Jonathan? Look forward to being broke, because that's what it's going to look like.
and look forward to being very wealthy.
Yes,
exactly.
Right. And he will be in his
payoff,
30s still in school.
That's our advice to you, Jonathan.
Good luck.
All right, folks, chime in, weigh in, and then we'll see you back here tomorrow morning for another edition of Wake Up Charlotte to Go.